for external data, right, the tools, the data source are completely different. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Now, the objective, right, as we just talked about, right, even with perfect internal processes, a company can still fail, right, because of changes in the outside competitive environment, which includes the market changes, product changes, right? Competitors take a different move, right? Or customer base is changing, or suppliers changed, or the industry has changed. So many things could change that could impact you significantly. So here's the question, right? So what is the threat? What are the threats and opportunities, right? And how to respond to the changes, right? So you need tons of information, and also you need powerful, tools to help you track what is going on. And competitive intelligence, right, provides data and visualization tools will help you answer these questions. Okay, now the competitive intelligence actually can be applied to has many applications, and the biggest application used to be at least is for investors or venture capitalists or even financial analysts to value companies, to do investment research. Anybody buying stocks, that's what they use. Of course, now you probably don't need something so sophisticated, right, to determine, if Apple is going up or IBM is going down in stock market, right? But institutional investors, right, they need a lot of information to make decisions. And second application will be used by corporate analysts or management consultants, right, to discover problems and causes, right, and to design turning around strategies for companies in trouble, right? They do this benchmarking, very frequently to understand their strengths and weakness, right, relative to their competitors. Now, marketing analysts will explore new markets, right, customers, and design penetration strategies, right? Now, you should not only look at your customers, you look at, competitors' market, right, as well. That's why we need the external data. Now, supplier sourcing analyst, of course, you need to understand, right, or identify and select suppliers globally, right? Find out who has the new technology, who has the manufacturing capability, right? Who can offer you a lower price too, right? So these are all external data. And the S&OP analyst, right? People might think, if I manage inventories, I just need to consider myself. No, actually, that's not true, right? Because you need to compare your inventory performance with your, let's say, competitors to see, if you have a lot of room for improvements, right? Maybe you're already operating close to optimal, or maybe you have huge room for improvements, right? That way, actually, that's the first step before you're taking on any inventory projects, right? Got to understand if you really have an inventory problem or not. And finally, of course, as a job seeker or career builder, you want to find your dream jobs. And for that, you need a lot of industry or company data. Make sense? Any questions? Okay, again, right, this is the ICP projects breakdown, right? As we can see, right, sourcing intelligence, market intelligence, and inventory analyst or management accounts for 35% of the total projects, in which I think competitive intelligence can help you a lot. So that's why I'm talking about this. Okay, because of its wide applications here, I just gave you an overview of these applications, right? Before I get down to the data and software preparation. So just to give you a little bit more detail, right, on who is going to use these applications and what impact it's going to make. The first application I want to talk about I want to drill into is competitive analysis. Now, just look at the picture above. What do you see? This is Intel's market share in the United States. Oh, that's the semiconductor market share analysis over time. Now, the top one is Intel Corporation. What do you see? Well, what I see is Intel's market share is constantly shrinking, starting from 2015, right? It used to be like more than 50, it's about 50% of market share. Or then become 40%, then become 30%. Now recently become 20%. Now the question you ask yourself is, how could Intel watch its market share eroded away without doing anything? It wasn't doing anything until 2002. It has such a huge downfall. Something is going on constantly, and never pay attention to. Well, this is the power of competitive analysis or external data, right? Because the market is changing, competitors taking different moves, and your market share is shrinking constantly without even being noticed. That's because they didn't pay attention to this. See, an outstanding company, the most valuable semiconductor company in the world can also make the same mistake, right? Can also make this mistake. Well, 2002 is a critical year. It's actually a tipping point, and now Intel really has to pay attention, right? So this is a classic problem, right? For corporate analysts, for supply chain analysts, and management consultants. Right? They want to discover, they want to come into, they want to analyze Intel versus the other semiconductor manufacturers to discover the problems. Right? You know, say while Intel is in shrinking, but some others were growing significantly, such as Qualcomm, right? Broadcom, right? NVIDIA, right? And so on and so forth. So the question is, right? What was the problem? What are the causes? How to turn around? Right. First, some typical steps will include, let's say, is this industry is shrinking altogether, or just some companies shrinking? Right. So, is this a sunrise or sunset industry? And if this is sunrise industry, but you are shrinking, something must be going on with yourself, right? So the question is, where do I stand in the competitive landscape? So, as compared to the competitors, where are you in profit, right? In financial health, right? In efficiency, and so on. And what's your strengths and weakness relative to your competitors? Or in which area is strong? Let's say you are financially very strong, but you're not very profitable. You know, so you got to figure out what's your strengths and weakness, and by looking and by comparing yourself, right, with your competitors, your direct competitors in different dimensions, you'll be able to find out what's your problems and what is the driver behind the problems. Right, for me, for Intel, this is actually a billion-dollar question. If you can figure out what's really going on and how to turn it around. Okay. Now, second type of application would be market intelligence. Let's say you want to exploit, let's say your old market is shrinking and you have to enter new markets. So the question is, which new markets, right? And what should be our target customers? And how do we penetrate? Right? So you must do a competitor analysis, right? Why is this? Because your competitors offer the same products, right? But some of them doing much better than yourself. That means, you know, they are dealing with different customers or market. And just by looking at their results, you'll be able to see which market is better. Right. So competitor analysis will include, right, market and product analysis. Will include also their pricing, their profitability, and their growth. So let's say while your company is going down, but some of the competitors is going up, right? So take a closer look at the market and products. For example, Intel, right? You should really look at what NVIDIA was doing, right? What's the high? NVIDIA offer really very high pricing, and even with very high pricing, it grows very fast, also very profitable, unbelievable, right? They must have a different product. which is GPUs, of course. Now, then you need to understand each market segment to look at, let's say, AI or deep learning, the semiconductor for that, or for graphics, or for mobile phones, and so on. For each of these market segments, you need to understand how large it is, the potential, where it is going, right, the trend, and also the concentration, meaning how many customers down there. Now, for mobile phones, there's pretty much just one, right? That's Apple, right? Now, if you go to this market, you'll be dominated by one customer. But if you go to AI or deep learning, there's a lot of different customers, right? So that means you have the leverage, you have the negotiation power, right? Because you got more customers than suppliers, right? Okay. Now, finally, you look at each customers individually to look at their size, their growth, their health, and their supplier relationship, how they treat their suppliers. It makes sense? Now, some examples included down here, and just click on this link, you can access more details. Now, one of the important projects, actually, the ICP projects for this spring has a lot of projects associated with sourcing, and sourcing and analysts can really help you tackle down these projects, right? Now, for supply or procurement planners, analysts, or managers, right, one of their tasks is to identify and select suppliers. Right, it's very important. They actually do this almost every year. Right, they need to compare suppliers' pricing, right, and financial robustness. You know, they don't want to work with a supplier that is nearly bankrupt, and also look at the supplier's manufacturing capability. Right, can they really provide enough supply? Right, for example, and they also need to measure the leverage and also the bargaining power of the suppliers. So based on the sales volume, for example, right? I'm going to drill down this a little bit more later. And inventory, of course, inventory analyst is also one of the major topics in the ICP projects, right? As S&OP analyst or planner or inventory analyst or manager, right? You want to answer the following questions. First one is, how important is inventory to my company or industry? Right? Your company may have a full stack of inventories or may not, right? So it can be very different. And how may inventory drive your company's financial performance? Right? You must answer this question, right? But very few people actually were able to answer this question because they don't have the data. And here I want to show a data source, right? How may inventory drive your company's financial performance? Right? Does that increase your net margin, your return on assets, your inventory, your asset turnover, and so on, right? Now, even if inventory is important and inventory does drive, right, the financial performance in your industry, the question is, do you really have an inventory problem? Right? You may not, because you may be operating already at optimal, which is rare, but it's possible, or close to optimal, or you have a huge room for improvements, right? And now, okay, after answering all these questions, then you can answer the last question, which is how to categorize inventories and management accordingly, right? This is often, in practice, we often ask the last question first, which is very, very strange, right? It doesn't make sense, right? You only solve a problem if there is a problem, okay? And so I think this inventory analyst will help a lot of our student teams, right, to address the fundamental problem for the company. And finally, the dream job analysis. Now, this is not today's topic, so I will just go over this very quickly. Now, as a career builder or job seeker, right, you always want to find a dream job. What is your dream job? What does your dream job look like? Anybody? Come on, you must know it. Okay, let me guess. A dream job is something that you like to do and also makes you tons of money. Is that right? Okay.
Yes, Rosa.
Yeah, please show yourself. So I make sure I want to make sure I'm not talking to I'm actually talking to a real person. Okay. If you can show yourself, open your camera. Right. Okay. No, let's translate
Yes.
this one. Thank you. Let's translate this one into more concrete terms. That means what? That means you want a job that is higher paid, but lower effort. I'm not encouraging everybody to be lazy. Actually, on the contrary, I want you to find out something you like to do so you don't feel too much effort. And a job also offers career growth. Right? You can grow, right? There's a career path for you to take, and also some kind of job security, right? Okay, well, that sounds too good to be true, right? But if you really know how to analyze the data, you can actually achieve it. There are three questions. That's just three questions, simple questions to ask. First question is where to go, where to work, or where to locate. Now you want to locate in economically prosperous regions that has many job opportunities. Let's say such as the tri-state area, which is right here, right, or close by in this metropolitan area, or in the west, which is Los Angeles. I'm sorry, not California, right? Or in the south, let's say Texas, or in the middle, let's say Illinois, right? So we need a clear map, right, of businesses so we can see where we have a lot of job opportunities, where is economically right prosperous with many companies or many revenues and profits. Make sure you go to one of those places, right? And second is which industry to enter or exit, right? The question is if your industry doesn't have a future, neither will you. Don't go to a sunset industry, no matter how 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 good the offer is, right? Go to a sunrise industry because you'll get plenty of opportunities in the future. How do we know? We need data, right? To tell us which industry is growing fast, which is actually shrinking, right? And where, of course, the industry is compared with the region, right? Now, let's say in one country, when industry is booming, doesn't mean this industry is booming everywhere. Yeah, it could go down in some other places, right? And finally, once you determine the region and the industry, you also need to pick the company to work for, right? And then there you're going to look at more specific information, such as their profitability. If the company is extremely profitable, they will be able to pay you a lot of money, right? If the company growing very fast, right? If you join it, you are likely to also go grow very fast, right? And also is the company taking high risk or a lot of financial liabilities that could impact job security. Okay, now if you're interested, actually, I have a video on this I can share. But today, I'm not going to drill into this. And email me if you want to know more about this. Okay, and actually, here is the example. You can check it out. All right, now let's go to databases and software preparation. So let me first give an overview. Now, to do those analysis I just mentioned above, you need a lot of data. Now, there are several data sources out here, such as Yahoo Finance, right? Provide data and newsfeed. However, the data is mostly unclean. For example, they don't have the currency unit, so you don't know if this number is in US dollars or Japanese yuan or United Kingdom or pounds, right? So, but they have tons of data up there. Now, WORDS, which stands for Water Research Databases. They provide data but no news feed. It costs quite a lot, and data is also relatively unclean. Now, there are 2 companies or 3 companies out there that provides clean data, organized, categorized data, ready to use, right? I think they also provide analytics tools and news feed. That includes Standard Poor or MSCI, right? Morgan Stanley, I think, let's see who uses this. I forget. Oh, Morgan Stanley Capital International. Morgan Stanley Capital International. Right. Now, let's use this as an example. They have classified 47,000 active publicly listed companies from 120 countries, totally 88,000 from 135 countries. So they have one of the most intensive data source. And Bloomberg Intelligence also provides a similar amount of data, and also updated very, very quickly. Right. However, the disadvantage of these 2 providers are they are very, very expensive. It could cost you thousands per user, per subscription per month. Okay, so here I'm going to give you a educational website, which is not updated that frequently, right? But it has quite some data up there. Also, it's very cleaned. So it has cleaned, classified, and globally standardized financial data. So this is called GCPS, and this website. It's an educational website. I also provide powerful visualization-based analysis tools, data dimensions, industry, KPI, regions, including country and state and year. And because it's free and it facilitates open sharing and learning. And the data, how much data they have? About 33,000 plus publicly listed companies from about 100 countries. Okay. Here we go. Okay, now regardless of which database you use, right, they more or less have the similar visual-based analysis tools. Right, one important tool is called the Business GIS, so Business Geographic Information System. Now, they may not call exact same name, but they have the similar functions, right, which projects the business data or financial data, right, to a map. So you can benchmark different regions, let's say countries or within one country, different states, right? The question is, where is the money? Where is the growth? And where is jobs? Right? Now, they also have the industry analysis. So they group companies from the same industry. They have an industry classification. So you can group companies into industry and compare industries side by side. Right? These tools can be used to benchmark different industries, compare different industries to find out, like, is this a sunrise or sunset industry? And what is the potential? What is the trend or concentration, right, in this industry? Now, enterprise level, they should have enterprise diagnosis tools, right, to compare companies side by side, right, to benchmark companies to identify the strengths and weaknesses of a company, which helps the company find out the problems and the causes. Now, they also have the navigator or something related that's industry classification, right? So if you have a company, you can find out how this company, which category, which industry this company belongs to. And finally, supply chain mapping, you'll be able to map, right, companies or industries, right, along the supply chain to see its customers and suppliers, right? Very powerful tool, something like that. Okay, here we go. Let's just go to this website. So here you don't need to install anything locally. Just everything's on the cloud, and it's also free. So I'll log in. All right. So I go to my workspace, and here are all my projects I have done. I go to GCPS. That's where you have access all the data. Right. And you can create new projects. You can edit existing projects, and you can also actually you can also see all these projects. everything is open, so you can learn from other people. Let's say, here we go. We have many other people's projects over here. Now, if you're interested in specific companies, let's say Apple or Intel or whatever you want to interest in, just search. So there's a lot of different apples over here, analysis of apples in all aspects you can find out. So the existing insights you can learn from each other. You can learn from others. Okay, now let's come back. All right. So I'm gonna go through two of the applications in detail and to show you how to use the software to generate results very quickly, or the data, right? Use the data and software generate results very quickly, and also how to interpret some of the results. And finally, I will point out some additional resources, right? You can look after. So the first demo I'm going to do is inventory analytics, because it's an important topic, right, in ICP projects. So here I focus on answering three questions, right? How important is inventory to my company or industry, right? And how may inventory drive let's say, my company's financial performance? And how do I know if I have an inventory problem? Let's just click on this. So we'll go to this project. Okay, actually, I want to get into this. This is one of my projects. Let's see here. Let's search. Let's inventory something, right? Inventory analytics right here. Right, let me edit it. So let's open it up. Okay, that's one of my projects. So I compared Macy's versus Amazon. Right, you see they're drastically different financial performance, right? With Amazon going skyrocketed in stock prices, and Macy's falling below the S&P 500 index. The question is why? What was going on, right? So the first thing is, of course, inventory is an important factor here, but the process of identifying that factor is actually more important. So first, now let's just go a little bit more. So you can use inventory. So you can use business GIS, right? This is the enterprise distribution. So let's go to it. Let's edit this one. Right. So this is one of the business geographic information system module, right? So here you select all the companies, all the industries, because we want to find out where is the inventory, right? And for regions or countries, I select world. Now you can select any other countries here as well. And year 2019, now you can choose different years, right? That I did this quite a few years ago. That's why. So you can choose, let's say, 2022, right? Right, and on the right bar, right, here's control panel. You can select different metrics, right? Let's see, number of enterprises, right? Now total revenue. So that total revenue means the all the revenues, the sum of revenue of all the enterprise in each of these countries, right? Total operating income, right? Total net income. And here I'm interested in inventory, right? Looks like China carries huge amount of inventory here. Now, to say it more clearly, you might want to use the pie chart. I'm sorry, the bar chart, right? And you can see here, just rule in, scroll your mouse, you can rule in. You can see that just inventory perspective, right? From inventory perspective, China has the most inventories, actually doubling that of United States, United States doubling that of Japan, Germany, South Korea, so on and so forth. Now, this is inventory. Of course, if you're interested in other things, you can check, let's say, market cap. Oh, United States is much higher than China. And if you look at total revenue, also United States is much higher than China. So let's see, let's come back to the map. Right? All right, let's not save this. So that's how you look at maps, right? Companies information or industry information on a map. Oh, okay, I have a bar chart. Okay, let's answer the first question, right? So in which industry inventory is important? So for some industries, inventory is not important, and you have to check whatever project you do. You have to check your specific industry to find out, right? Is inventory important or not? There are two measures here. Either like this one, right? Inventory over total assets. This is one important measure, right? Inventory as a percentage of total assets. So if you go to benchmark by KPI, which the KPI you're looking at is inventory over total assets, right? Just select here. There's tons of things over here. So you can just maybe search inventory over total assets. Okay, that's what we need, right? We're looking at the major industries, not financials, because let's select financials as well. No, let's not select that. Because financials have very little inventory. So let's look at the others. And select country, let's say United States, 2019. No, that's 2022. Well, let's say which of these industries has the highest inventory. So you can look at the median. So they did a 5-number statistic summary of all the data. You find out for energy, about 4%, right, of the assets, total assets in inventory, that's for the median. Materials, 12%. No, how not higher? Industrial, 13%. Consumer discretionary, 19%. Right, and the consumer staples, about 14%. Now, regarding the meaning of these industries, you can just check. Let's see, level 4, you'll see what's inside. Okay, let's say, for example, consumer discretionary includes automobile and components, consumer durables and apparel, media, retailing, and consumer service. Let's say in consumer durables and apparel, you have household durables, leisure products, textile, apparel, and luxuries. Now, within household durables, yeah, consumer electronics, right, home furnishings, home building, and so on. So feel free to check out. If you know what to search, you can just type in whatever keywords here. Okay, so let me just do it again. Oops, I need to select the industries. Let's just go to level 1 and make all the selections. Just no financials. Right, so you can see for some industries, inventory clearly is more important, such as consumer discretionary. Right, information technology actually is quite high too. Right, and consumer staples. So if you're working in these industries, right, inventory is really, really very important. However, for other industries such as utilities, it may not be so important. May not be, but you still have to look at specific industries. Right. So this is one way to show. The other way to show is inventory dates. Inventory dates, that measures how many days of inventory supply you have, right, in stock. So let's select a few industry groups, right, such as capital goods, automobile, right, consumer durables, apparel, retailing, and food, pharmaceuticals, and so on. I think we have a lot of people working on pharmaceuticals. Let's look at pharmaceuticals. Let's choose year 2022. And which industry you think that inventory is important? Let's first look at the median, right? Capital goods, about 100 days. Automobile, 90 days. That's for United States. Consumer durables and apparel, 145 days. Retailing, about 90 days. Food stable retailing, about 32 days. Interesting. It's actually not that much. But think about that's food and stable, right? That's the food, the bread, the milk, and rice, something like that. So 32 days is quite long already. It's like 1 month inventory. You wish to be like the best case is like maybe 2 weeks, right? You don't want to go shopping to in a store that carries 52 days of inventory, right? Like nearly 2 months of inventory, right? Okay, now if you go to pharmaceuticals, oops, 175 days. Wow, that's a lot. If you look at the worst case, it's about 1,000 days. So these companies, they gotta have inventory problem, correct? The best case is about 40 days. Maybe you don't have too few. But the worst case is 1,200 days, and that's a lot of inventories. Right? Makes sense? So within same industry, same country, you see a huge variation of inventory dates. Now, if you're close to the best cases, that means you probably don't have much, a lot of inventory problem. But if you are close to the worst case, you most likely have a lot of inventory problem. Make sense? Okay, so let's come back. Okay. Let me come back to my presentation. So we just compared, right? Just said. We just answered the first question. Is inventory important? Right? Just looking at different industries and find out, right? Either inventory versus total assets or inventory dates, right? Right? Look at the variation and look at the median. You will know if inventory is important in your industry or not. Right? Now let's compare specifically about between Amazon versus Macy's, right? So we know these companies very well, so I don't have to talk too much. Just look at their most recent stock market performance. Amazon performs much better than Macy's, right? For several reasons. One of them actually is inventory. So if you look at, let's do an enterprise ranking, right? Between for US retailing, let's say in the S&P 500 company. So let me come back to the software. So let's make this big. All right, so if you select inventory dates and select retailing, which is in level 2, United States, and here, let's select 2022. Now, specifically, we're looking at only S&P 500 companies, right? So it shows that Amazon has the lowest inventory dates, and then which is followed by Best Buy, right? Ross, TJX, Bath and Body Works, and so on and so forth. Now, Macy's is not here because Macy's is no longer a S&P 500 company. So let's compare everybody. Now, here we have some companies doing much better. This company only has 1 day inventory. Okay. Anyway, here's Amazon. Macy's, I think, is way behind it. Let's see, where is Macy's? Macy's not here. So if you go back, not yet. 100 days. Oh, okay, right here. I think Macy's should be closed now. Oh, right here. Macy's is over here. So you have about 106 days. Right. If you go to Amazon, Amazon is 28 days, about a month versus 3 months plus. Okay. Okay, so the ranking give you an idea of how much inventory they carry, right? At side-by-side comparisons. Now, but to see what's impact the financials. Let's first have a breakdown of the financials. Breakdown of the revenue, we'll see the cost components, right? Now, this is retailing for United States as the average, industry average, right? To the left bar, The bar in the middle shows the Macy's number, Macy's breakdown, and the bar to the right shows Amazon's. So you can see Macy's cost of goods sold, which is blue, right, is much lower than Amazon, only about 67 or 8%. Amazon is 86%. What does that mean? Now, if you have a lower cost of goods sold, that means you have a much higher price, right? Let's say for item costs $100, their sales price for industry average, right, which is 73% of the sales, cost of goods sold, 73% of the sales. So the industry average selling price is $136. Macy's $147 because Macy's cost of goods sold is a much smaller percentage of its revenue. And Amazon, with a much higher percentage of revenue, Amazon only about $116, right? That's the difference. So we can see Amazon has high pricing, but they didn't make a lot of money, right? This is 2021, actually, during pandemic, they lost about 20% of the revenue, right? And why? That's because look at there's SGA cost, right? So almost 40% of the revenue, very, very high. And Amazon, about 9%, right? So even though Amazon was selling the product at a much lower price, but because its SGA, its operations is so efficient, right? It's only 8%. They still make some money, has some money, right? Net income is 7.1%. Now the question is, how did Amazon achieve such a lower, right, SGA cost? And if you do a value driver analysis, right, you will see that. So correlate all the companies, right, U.S. retailing, S&P 500 companies, right, correlate between their sales, general, administrative cost, right, over total revenue with their inventory turnover. You'll see a strong negative correlation. So as you increase inventory turnover, right, your operating cost or sales SGA cost is going to reduce for U.S. retailing. And if we come back and check how much inventories Macy's carry, this is an asset breakdown. So for Macy's, right, 21% of assets inventory, industry average 14%, about 15%. Amazon, about 7.7%. So which one has an inventory problem? Clearly, Macy's has an inventory problem, much higher industry average, right? And inventory in this industry, as we just showed, right, is negative correlated, right, with SGA cost. So inventory does reduce, right, operating cost. So conclusion is very simple, right? So Amazon used lower inventory, right, to generate lower SGA cost, right? So its lower SGA cost are now Amazon to give a lower pricing and still making a better profit. Now, Macy's and Walmart, the same case. If you look at Walmart's financials, the same. Walmart, of course, is doing much better than Macy's. But the trend is they have higher inventory, which leads to higher SGA cost. And because SGA cost is high, like in this case, right, high SGA cost, and you have to increase your price. Otherwise, you are not break even, right? You have to increase your price. And even with increased price, you have a lower profit, right? So, so just by this simple data analysis or visualization, right, you can see inventory efficiency, right, is important for retailing. It helps reduce the SGA cost. And with a lower SGA cost, one can reduce the price to customers and make more profit in the same time. All right, any questions? Okay, now let's continue. So the last part of today's training session, we'll talk about our demo, some sourcing and analytics. Okay, sourcing analytics is sourcing intelligence, right? One of the biggest tasks in sourcing is to identify and select suppliers, right? So the vendors, the industry, the markets, and customers, that's what I have to consider. Let's use the iPhone as example. So iPhone outsourced the manufacturing of all its hardwares, right? It designs the phone, designs the chip, right? Chips, but however, it does not manufacture the chips, right? So the question is, which company, right, should iPhone outsource the CPU to, right? Um, Now Apple has to make this decision every year for every generation of iPhone, or even multiple times a year in case of suppliers problems. So, okay, now first thing you have to do is to find out, right, for semiconductors, what is the industry classification, right? So you can find out all the potential suppliers. All right, so let's come on to, let's just do this. So let me close this and just come back a little bit. So if you go to Navigator, and type in any companies or semiconductor products, then you might get, let's say Intel, right? It's a major semiconductor manufacturer. And you'll know immediately what's the industry classification. Actually, it's right here. On the left panel, you have sectors: information technology, industry group, semiconductors, and semiconductors equipment. And finally, the sub-industry, which is the most granular level of classification, which is semiconductor. If you zoom in, this is a classification tree, right? Information technology, this semiconductor or semiconductor equipment. And here is semiconductors, right? Here's Intel. But of course, we have other people as well, other companies as well. This is Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, TSMC. And this is Qualcomm. And this is Micron, right? And all the other companies, Inferno, right? All the companies are here. NVIDIA. Now, if you want to restrict the search only within the United States, you can do that. Right here, you only got companies from the United States or headquartered in the United States. Actually, here's the top three: Qualcomm, Broadcom, and Micron. Right, you can choose different ways to show these dots. For example, you can use I use total revenue. You can use gross profit, net income, EBIT, whatever you want to use. Okay. Now, once we have this, so we have identified industry classifications for semiconductors. So you know where to search. Now let's look at where are CPU suppliers. Right. So let's just come down to this. Just come to this project that you get. It take quite a while. Okay, here we go. Sourcing analytics. Okay, let me just open my session on sourcing analytics. Now this one. Here we go. So let's go to GCPS. Let's search sourcing. Here we go. Sourcing analytics. Let's edit this one. So these are just like PPT, these are the navigation of the pages, and you have on your right, you have the page, you have the main page. So let's just do, okay, here we go. Let's find out which country actually is strong in semiconductors, so we can maybe find supplier from those countries. Okay, semiconductors, I select level 4. Right, level 4, and you just search semiconductors right here. And I choose world, right? because I want to find out which country has the most semiconductor revenue or suppliers in year 2022, let's say. Right. Here is what it shows. Right. Let me just make this bigger. So United States, China, South Korea, Japan, some European countries. Now, sometimes it's not very clear by the graph. So let's use the bar chart. This gives you the most clear picture. So you can see that if you're looking for semiconductor suppliers, right, then United States has the highest revenue. Now this is revenue. Although China has the highest number of semiconductor manufacturers, the US has highest revenue and operating profits, right, net income, and so on and so forth. So let's just look at revenue. Now the second country in place is Taiwan. Yeah, a small country or region, but has significant output in semiconductor. Right, China is the third, and then they are followed by Japan, Switzerland, Germany, Netherlands, and South Korea. Okay, let me see. Yeah, no problem. Okay. So which one of the countries? No, that's not safe. Right. Which one of the countries now we can view globally the major players. Right. We can view globally the major players in semiconductor. So in which case I will do this. Let me just go to the end. So let's open a new page. So if you go to the new page, supply chain mapping, let's select Intel. Right, okay. Now it actually shows the upstream and downstream all the industries, right, relative to the semiconductor. Right, so upstream we have semiconductor equipment that provides the manufacturing equipment or raw materials for semiconductors. And the downstream we have technology distributors, we have electronic manufacturing services, electronic components, and so on. Right, if you open this up, open those details, you'll see globally, right, the major semiconductor manufacturers in year 2022. Right, the most recent year. You can select year as well. Now, looks like Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation already surpassed Intel as the world's biggest semiconductor manufacturer. Right, so now we have countries over here. Let's see, but United States still overall has the highest, let's see, combined revenue in this industry. Now, if I remove the United States, then we have Taiwan. Right, remove Taiwan, we have major companies from China. Remove China, we have Switzerland, and so on and so forth. So let's add them back. Okay. So we can save this. So globally, you can see the major players over here and also by country. Right. All right. So you got an idea, right? So let's say we have Intel, right, as we just seen on this picture, as potential suppliers, right? For Apple's iPhone, we have Intel, we have TSMC, right, the Taiwan company. We have Samsung Electronics. We have Qualcomm, right? We have Global Foundries. So I'd rather than select some other smaller companies, you can select any companies you want. And ideal supplier would be somebody who can offer you a lower pricing, right? They don't charge you much. That's great, right? But still, even with that lower pricing, they are highly profitable, which is hard to achieve, which is really hard to achieve, right? They got to be extremely efficient to do that. They are very, very competitive. But that's the ideal customer, right? They don't charge you much, but they're still very profitable, meaning they can sustain that lower pricing, right, for a long time. And second, they are financially robust, so they will not bankrupt in near future, both short term and long term. And finally, they have enough engineering and manufacturing capability. Let's see, these three will be the fundamental criteria, right? If you want to find an ideal supplier for manufactured product. Okay, let's just make a short comparison among these three. Right, my favorite tool will be just the revenue breakdown. Right? Let me just show you how to do this. So you go, let me just create something new. So you go here, analysis tools. Now, I think in here, enterprise diagnosis, you have three basically category of tools. A business geo-info, that's the business GIS, right? Tools, industry, enterprise distribution, and typical firm performance by region, and so on. You have industry analysis tools, right? Such as benchmark industry, benchmark KPI, concentration, competition intensity, industry breakdown, industry comparison, industry trend. You have enterprise diagnosis, right? We just used enterprise ranking, right? You can do enterprise trend as well. Here, we're going to do enterprise breakdown. Right, let's break down by revenue. You can break down by all kinds of things here. So let's do it by revenue. You can also break down by assets or liabilities and so on, or even inventory. So remember, we are doing semiconductor. So let's select industry, semiconductor. Now we have countries both from both United States and Taiwan, right? So because we want to compare Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation. So let's include both countries. 2002, that's great. 2022, I'm sorry. So let's search for the companies we're interested. Let's say Intel, right? Okay, let's put all of them in. And Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation right here. We have Qualcomm as well. Qualcomm. Okay. And any other companies you want to include in, feel free. We have Samsung. Oh, Samsung is not here. So I think it's Samsung is classified as something else. But we have Global Foundries. Global Foundries. Okay. Now let's just do these companies. Okay, that's 2022, right? Breakdown, revenue breakdown. Okay. Oh, this is a little different. So let's do a little bit back, year 2020, let's say. That's when this iPhone was sourcing CPUs. So in this year, okay, we can see that this is Intel, right? 44% of cost of goods sold, right? As a percentage of the revenue, and Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, right? TSMC, 47%, and Qualcomm about 40%, 39%. So you can see that Qualcomm has the highest pricing because they have the similar suppliers, right? The raw material accounts for the least, right, of the revenue. So the price markup is the highest, right? Taiwan TSMC has the highest cost of goods sold. So that means they mark up the lowest. So TSMC has the lowest pricing, although not by much, right? Qualcomm has the highest pricing. Intel is in between, right? Now with the highest pricing, I'm sorry, with the lowest pricing, right? TSMC is making the highest net margin, 38%, right? Qualcomm with the highest pricing is making the least net margin, 22%, right? Intel is somewhere in between. Right? Intel pricing is in the middle, and the net margin is also in the middle. Right? You can see that it's possible to achieve a lower pricing and also the highest profit, right? Which is TSMC. That's why TSMC is so competitive. They offer a lower pricing, but with a lower pricing, they were making the highest profit. How they did that? Look at their research and development, much smaller than the others because they don't have the design. They only have the manufacture. And then look at their SGA cost, about 3%, less than 3%. And if you look at Qualcomm and Intel, 8%, 9%. So TSMC has very good cost management. They are operationally very, very efficient. So I'm just showing here it's possible, right, to give your customers a lower pricing and still be highly profitable. And that is TSMC. Okay, second, financial health, right? If you look at the financial health, look at their, now let me just go to the software. Okay, let's just, instead of revenue, let's do another breakdown, liability equity breakdown. And you can see that this TSMC has a lot of stockholder equity, right? 66%. If you look at Intel, 52%, which is very nice already, but still not as good as TSMC. And Qualcomm has a huge non-current liabilities. Their total stockholder equity is it's just about 17%. Okay, so Qualcomm is a little bit under the risk. It's not financially, it's not that robust, right? As TSMC and Intel. And finally, let's look at their manufacturing capability. So let's do a detailed asset breakdown. Okay, let's make this big. Okay, so you can see that let's look at PPEs, right? Property, plant, and equipment. That's pretty much their manufacturing plants, which indicates how much capacity they have. Now, in year 2020, right, Intel has decent capacity, about 40% or 37% of the total assets in PPEs. Taiwan TSMC, 57%. And if you look at Qualcomm, it's about 10%. Well, they're kind of short of manufacturing capability. Now, Global Foundries also has the highest, but this company was losing money in that year, but I think they're going to catch up. So if you can summarize, right, just by changing the analysis modules, you'll quickly reach the conclusion, right? So the conclusion is, right, first criteria, lower pricing, highly profitable, TSMC. Financial robustness, both short-term and long-term, TSMC and Intel. Right, finally, engineering and manufacturing capabilities, I would say TSMC and Intel. Right, so at the end of the day, you'll come down to a dashboard and to a scoreboard, score sheets. And there you'll rank all the potential suppliers in several dimensions by, let's say, engineering capability or manufacturing capability, by their pricing, by their profitability, by their financial health, and so on and so forth. And you will see manufacturing capability, almost everybody's, technical capability, engineering capability, everybody is excellent. But from manufacturing capacity perspective, right, Qualcomm is only good because it doesn't have much capacity, only 10%. Pricing, TSMC is excellent. Intel is fair. Qualcomm is poor because it has highest pricing. Profitability, both Intel and TSMC are excellent. Qualcomm is less excellent because it's just good because it's lower net margins. Financial health, you can see both Intel and TSMC are excellent, but Qualcomm is just good. All right. So after analyze the sourcing, the score chart, you will come down to the sourcing strategy, right? For iPhone CPUs, right? Using TSMC as the main IC integrated chips, right? Circuits supplier. You may cultivating Global Foundries as a potential supplier and spread some work to Intel, Qualcomm, and Samsung for their specialties. And if you look at what actually Apple did in year 2020, that's very close to what Apple did, except cultivating Global Foundries. Okay. Now, more resources. I won't have time to go through all these applications. So just point out some resources if you're interested. Later, when you do the projects, we find out you need something. you can go through these many of them YouTube videos, such as the GCP's walkthrough tutorial, competitive analysis, inventory analytics, sourcing analytics. If you have any questions or comments, please, you can email me. Oh, finally, as I just showed before, if you need to know something, you can search for the company name or product name, whatever it is. Maybe somebody has already done a project on that, so you can find out their insights. And if you find out something interesting, you can also copy their projects. Let me just show you. Let me close this. So let's say if I'm interested in something, it's going to take a while for this the company project to show up. Okay, here we go. Let's say what I'm interested in this project, right? So business intelligence and competitive analysis of information technology industry. So I can view it. It's going to show me what they did. If I like this, you can cite, right? So you click on this button, it's going to copy this project to your account, and you can open up and make changes and so on. Okay, that's it. Any questions? So I'm going to stop sharing. Any questions, comments?
Professor, I want to ask, when we considering the asset structure of a company, when we do the comparison, do we need to consider their total assets, like the size of their company? Does that make a difference of their structure?
Oh, that's a good one. So, yeah, you can compare the total assets as well. Yeah, there's all kinds of ways to show the total assets. So let me just come back. Let me share again. Sorry. Yeah. So in addition to the breakdown, of course, you want to see the total assets too. Yeah, it makes that I would say that would be the first step. You first show who is the biggest, and then you break them down. Right. It's very simple. Let me just show you. Let me share screen. Right. For example, let me just come back to the same. Where is my workspace? Okay, here we go. Let me just add on a few more slides to this. Right. What are you interested in? What do you have in mind? So let's go to analysis tools. Total assets, right? By company, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a enterprise ranking, for instance. See here, total revenue, correct? I think they have assets as well. So this one, just search. Total assets grows, total assets right here. Okay, which company are you interested in?
Just like Apple. Yeah.
You want to say Apple?
And
Oh, Apple is much
no,
bigger.
no, no. The Intel and that we just did the
Okay, Intel and
Taiwan.
TSMC, right? Let's
Yeah,
say Intel and
TSMC.
TSMC. Okay, so in that case, let me narrow down the search because I know they're all semiconductors. But if you don't know, you can just select anything you want. Select a broader classification, semiconductors. But okay, now because we're interested in Taiwan TSMC, we have to include Taiwan. Otherwise, you won't see this. You won't see this company. Enterprise. Okay, so 2002, right? Here we go. You're absolutely right. Intel actually has more assets than TSMC. So the first is Intel, second is TSMC, then Broadcom. What is this? Oh, Advanced Micro Device. Oh, AMD is the fourth one.
Yeah.
Yeah, AMD. Oh, the stock price is crazy recently. Micron, Analog, Qualcomm, NVIDIA, and so on and so forth. Now, So you choose different measures. You give you very different ranking. Okay. Now you want to see, we just see the total assets. We just see the total revenue. We can also see the net margin. You want to see the highest net margin one? The one with highest net margin?
Yeah.
You'll be surprised. It's this company, Silicon Integrated System Corporation. It has net margin of 2.5%, 2.5 times their revenue. Ooh, they must get some government subsidies. Otherwise, they won't be able to do that. Okay, then it's Alpha and Omega Semiconductors. Now, let's say, there are many smaller companies. They can have very interesting numbers. But if you want to figure out these smaller companies, just click on S&P 500. However, S&P 500 is just the US companies. Taiwan or other companies or Chinese companies will not be included here. So if we click on just S&P 500, 500 companies, then you got NVIDIA has the highest net margin, 36%. For $1 of sales, they make 36 cents. That's a lot. That's a lot. And Broadcom, Qualcomm, Micron. Where is Intel? Intel's here. They only make 13 cents. Not much. Oh, AMD actually only makes 6 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah. This can be seen as a very profitable industry. Let's go to a different industry. You'll see completely different numbers. Let's see. Let's go to consumer discretionary staples. Consumer staples. That's the company sell foods, drinks, cigar, that kind of thing. If you look at consumer staples, let's see here. Let's say all consumer staple companies from the United States. Okay, the first one, Philip Morris. The largest one has about 30%, well, which is very high. Do you know what products this company sell? Anybody here?
Some electric.
No, this consumer staples, food, drinks, and cigar. Anybody knows this company's main product? Cigarettes.
Oh.
This company sells cigarettes, Marlboro. Okay. No, it's banned in the United States, of course, in the public, but you can have extremely high margin. And this company, which is Altria, I have no idea this company. What can this company make?
That's cigarettes also.
And cigarettes also. Okay, good. They are shrinking, but they're extremely profitable. Look at Coca-Cola. Oh, that's great, 22%. Wow, the soda company is very profitable. What about this one, Brown and Forman? I don't know what product they sell. Anybody? And looks like drinks are much more profitable. And here's Monster Beverage Corporation. Yeah, and this one is Procter & Gamble. Okay, they're selling detergents. They make 18% of the net margin. No, not bad, But compared with high tech, they're still not as good. Right. Let me show you something else. So if you compare different industries, actually it's a very interesting compare different industries. You use the industry tools, you can compare, let's see, here we go. Profit versus cost. This is my favorite tool. Let's select net margin. Okay. Let's select two different industries. First is information technology, second is consumer stable. Very important, right? Without information, we won't be able to survive. Without food, we also won't survive. So let's look at United States 2022 and you'll see. Did you see something? As you scaled up, information technology is going to make you a lot more money than consumer staples. As you scale up, so see that the slope is just so different, right? The slope is so different. So every dollar of additional spending, if you are in IT, you will make a lot more money than consumer staples. Okay, now that's like all. And let's only look at S&P 500 just to make it simple. Okay. And what do you say here? What is the most profitable or most scalable industry in United States in this year? Still,
IT.
yeah, still information technology, right? It's right here. So as you become big, you make a lot more money. And which one is the least? Well, this year Amazon actually is pretty bad. Actually, they actually lost some money. So that really brings down the consumer discretionary section, right? Or actually, there's one even worse than that. Oh, that's the financials. Wow, financials is not doing very well in this year. And these S&P 500 companies. Oh, the market was performing pretty bad. Now, this one, energy is doing great, right? Because of the pandemic, or because the energy price increased a lot this year. They're doing great. Now, let's see. Let me also show you something else. If I just show the S&P 500 companies, right? If you go to let's see, revenue versus cost, right? That's like all same year, S&P 500 companies. Let's remove all these regression lines. By the way, you can highlight companies. Let's see if I want to highlight which company, Apple. Oh, it's right here. Okay, now sometimes there's a lot of outliers here, so you can remove some of the dots. Let's say I don't like Walmart. Let's say in this case, I can just cut it off. Okay, but of course the picture is going to tell you, hey, one dot is removed. Well, and let's make it back. Okay. All right. Now let's also remove the highlights. I don't like the highlights. So let's zoom in. You can see a lot of interesting details here. You see? Let's say within the range of let's say for spending about $100 billion, $100 billion. We have what? We have Microsoft, right? And we have HD, Home Depot, WB, Walgreen. And here's Verizon, our old friend, right? And you can see they spend about same amount of money, right? So they spend about 100 billion. And Microsoft made about 198 billion. Verizon spent about 100 billion. They made 136 billion. You see the difference, right? And UPS is down here. UPS made about $100 billion. Right? Still, there's significant difference, right, in the money making potential, right? If you work in different industries. Although, of course, there's a strong correlation, right? If you spend more, you're gonna make more, but not always.